What's up, guys? We're about to go live for tonight's call. Sorry, guys. These guys are usually right on time. So, guys, click the link in the side to join Sosana. Also, if you want the crypto debit card with low fees and no KYC, the link is in the chat. See you guys later, guys. I will be live trading again Mondays. The live trading starts again. I'll see you there, man. Cheers, guys.
It looks like it's getting bigger and bigger. I love it. Guys, as you're popping in, man, if you know the deal, if you want to go to the Telegram group, say who you are, where you're coming in from, you can do that. I do want to give us an extra minute to let some people on. I want to give some updates real quick. Plus, I want to tell you something. I'll just let you guys pop on. So we are going to give it an extra minute here before we get started. But if you guys want to go to the Telegram group again and announce where you are and where you're calling from, that is awesome, man. Busy, crazy day for us, and I expect that to continue almost indefinitely. You know, we're gonna have a lot of crazy days, but that's cool, and we'll just keep that going. Let me just meet that person. Thank you. But ultimately, guys, I will say this to you, man. We've got some incredible things happening. Let me see how many people. Okay, cool. I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds, and then we'll get started. And we are going to record this. I think this will be. I hope this will be very helpful for you guys to go. And I'm sorry, I'm multitasking here. David Track and I just finished a conversation here 1 second ago, and I was trying to just get that all behind. But Brazil, California, Canada, Florida, Virginia. Welcome, guys. Texas, always good to see you. Mexico, Florida, Houston, guys. I love how this grows. I love the international nature of it. I know we talked about that quite a bit, but I do want to say this, and I want everybody to kind of keep this in mind before we get started. And I'll say it again at the end. I want everyone, and I want you to take this to your teams as well. In case they're not live, they're not on here live, because I'm going to say this before we start, recording. In fact, I'm saying this before we start recording. I need everyone to relax, to take a deep breath. If you have a beverage of choice, pour it, either now, while you're on the webinar, or wait until after. And I say that because I can sense and I can tell, we look in a Telegram group, we're getting calls from a bunch of people. Some people are very, very familiar with all of this. So signing up for them is secondhand nature. They've done KYC a billion times before. They're plugged into every single call. So they were aware that there was a webhook being added. So the KYC was down during the night. And then, so they were aware of it. So they're just completely stress-free. They're set up. They're approved now. They're rocking and rolling. They're building. And then there's all other people along the scale, man. We've got people who have never been involved in crypto ever, have never signed up for any type of thing like this before, have never done KYC before. This is stressful for you, and I get that. I remember being new. It's been a long time since I was new, but I remember being new, and I understand that can cause some stress. And then we got people somewhere along the way, who are just getting used to a new system. You guys are actually as any, if you've ever been involved in any new launch of anything, you realize that no matter what the developers do and the programmers do and all that kind of stuff, the true stress test is always when you let the field have a crack at it. And they break it. They might, you guys are going to find some things that, that quite honestly, because of a unique scenario that you might have, the way you're doing something or whatever, it exposes a crack that needs to be resolved. Every single thing that we've heard about is resolvable. We are constantly taking the information. We are giving it to the developers. The developers are monitoring all that kind of stuff. They're doing all that kind of stuff. Everything is resolvable. The biggest thing that I'm hearing about that I think is a huge stress point for some people, again, not everybody, maybe not even a lot of people, but for the people that it is a big point for, it's stressful, is I can't find my sponsor deal. It's like, my sponsor is, I don't know, they're on vacation, they're this, they're that. And the only reason why that is a massive stressful point for people is because I think you guys believe that if you don't find them soon enough, you're going to miss out and you're going to miss the founders program, or your team is going to miss the founders program, et cetera, et cetera. So I need you guys to relax, right? I don't know what it is about this team. When I say this team, I mean the core development team here that would actually lead you to believe that we would actually allow anyone that's been here trying to get it done, putting your time in, giving us your grace, everything. And then at the 11th hour, we're going to somehow set you guys up where you can't be a part of the founders program. There is not one single person right now that's trying to get started with us, that's here, that's in, that is not going to be a part of the founders program, right? What does that mean? Guys, I'm giving you my word. I'm doing better than that. I'm giving you David Track's word. I'm giving you Mark Ross's word as well. You will be okay, and your team will be okay, whatever it is we have to do. So as far as if that is your stress, if that is the thing that's got your hair falling out, so eventually you're going to look like me and the professor, if that's the thing that's got you overwhelmed, or it's got some people on your team overwhelmed, let them know. Do not worry about that. Okay, you have no concerns about that. Right now we're working with the developers to resolve whatever the things are that are coming up. We have them actually putting together an actual a programmable developer solution for us, for the people who are saying, hey, I can't find my sponsor and I don't know who my sponsor's sponsor is. It's a touchy situation for us guys, just to be honest with you, because we want to do everything that we can do to preserve the integrity of lines of sponsorship, right? I mean, listen, if you worked hard to recruit me, and then I went out and I introduced some people, and then I'm off the reservation, I'm sure you would prefer it if the people that you introduced me, I introduced some people. If I'm off the reservation, I'm sure you prefer it if the people that I introduced, somehow ended up with you and not with someone else. So we want to do everything we can do from a programming standpoint to preserve lines of sponsorship, et cetera. And that is why we're working with them to get some things done. That's why some of the, people are saying, well, can you guys do this for me, do this for me? And we're saying, hold up on there for a second. But I realize, again, when we're saying hold up, people are like, but I'm going to miss out on being a founder, or my people are going to miss out on being a founder. I promise you that's not going to happen. So as to the solution of how we guarantee that's not going to happen, that will be, we will give you that determinant factor here in the next day or so, but it's not going to happen. That's what you really need to know. So if that is what is stressing you out, and not if it is, I know it is for a lot of people, guys, I just want to start with that. Professor, you can hear me, right, sir?
I can hear you just fine. Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome, man. Do you want to turn your video on?
Sure.
So, guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the efforts that everybody's putting in. We got some incredible leaders out there, man. I was invited to a few people's presentations they were doing to kind of speak on their presentations. I know there's a tremendous amount of work going on. We've been doing private onboarding sessions, man, like crazy, getting people signed up.
Brian, let me interrupt you real quickly. Are you recording, sir?
Yeah, I'm about to start recording. You're absolutely. But I did just want to kind of get that out of the way with you guys and tell you, please go tell your teams, relax. Like just we got you. I promise you. There's nothing, and I don't want you to feel like there is no universe where we would say, hey man, hey, I know there were some issues getting signed up and everything, but that's their problem, bro. We said that they had until this date and this time, they didn't get in. They ain't in. That's their problem. I hope you realize we're not those types of people, man. I really, really, really do. There is no universe where that's going to happen. So don't worry about that. What's most important to us is that we all the fixes that you guys find or whatever, we get that fixed. Some of it is there is a lot of stuff we've heard, in all honesty, that is user error. That's okay. That's all happens all the time. You don't know it's user error because you've never used it before. So there's some knowledge stuff that needs to be put out there, and some stuff we maybe need to be clearer about in our tutorials and everything. There's other stuff that, man, okay, yeah, we didn't realize that if somebody does that, if they put a 17 here instead of a 16, it does something wacky. So we're telling the developers, and they're fixing that. And we appreciate you guys kind of being there in this early time. But again, you're going to be fine. So, Professor, did I do a good job of making that clear?
Thing is, you did such a good job that, you know, I was expecting, if you didn't do a good job, that I was going to have more people coming and joining me like this.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying,
but
right?
Now there's going to be people who's going to keep their hair. So it's just you and me.
Okay, good stuff. Just us. All right, good. Because I like the exclusive clubs anyway, man. That's what I'm saying, brother. So yeah, I just want so hopefully everybody's clear there. And guys, so we've seen a lot of the questions come in. We are collating the questions. Lori Patton, thank you so much for everything that you did to help today to make that possible, so we can get all that stuff over to the people that need to see it and getting an FAQ out to everyone, but also making sure that the programmers on what they want to be on. But I wanted to cover with you guys something that I think I think this is going to be helpful here, because it occurred to me today, and not just today, honestly over the last few days, as I talked to a lot of different people, especially mostly some new people. So I give them some grace there, but even some people who've been around for a while.
Let me interrupt you again, sir. Let me interrupt you again. I don't think you hit the record button.
Oh, you know what?
Did you do that yet?
Man,
it wasn't me. It was Michael Bain. It was Michelle.
I'm about to say the same thing that I said before. We're going to act like I didn't say it before. Okay, here we go.
That was Michelle and Lonnie. Thank you, folks.
Oh, man, here we go. So we have a problem here.
Ooh.
Yeah, where Mark needs to clear out some.
Darn it.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to record to this computer. Hope I don't kill all the memory I have here, and then I'll have to get it over to Mark. So let me just
recording in progress.
Awesome, guys. So listen, thanks for taking some time, man, out of your busy schedule to be here, for our AMA. And I'm excited to be here. Professor, thanks for joining me as well. Man, appreciate your leadership, always being there. And guys, I wanted to share with you guys all something that I believe you're going to find valuable, because I try to do, if you notice, I always try to do stuff in real time, like what's happening in real time, what am I experiencing, what am I hearing from people, and then I sit down with people, or I get on a line with them, and I start explaining certain stuff, and I realize I wish there were more people listening in on this conversation, right? And from there, I say, that's something that should be shared with the team, because I think a lot of people could benefit from it, because I see or I hear the light bulb go on for these people, and it gives them so much more clarity. And one of the things I realized as I was having some conversations with some people over the last few days is there are a lot of people who are tremendously excited about Sosana, but really have no idea, right? Or a real clue, or real true understanding of what we're in, or what we're trying to accomplish, or what, and therefore what their role could be in what we're trying to accomplish. And I thought to myself, man, I think we could really get some benefit, if you will, right, out of really understanding that. So I had a deal with somebody where I was able to explain it to them about what was happening, and it was like, all of a sudden they were like, oh my God, I got some of my people. Can we get on a conference call right now with some of my people, and you say the same thing you just said to me? And I did, and then they had a whole new thought process about what they were going to be doing. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and then we can talk about it afterwards. I'm going to share my screen, Professor. Tell me when you can see it.
It's coming. I can see it, sir.
Okay, perfect. So what I ended up talking to you, I ended up calling it the goal, but it was really just for people to understand what is it that we're involved in doing right now. I think a lot of people are like, we got a token, and we're getting the price up. So I wanted to just kind of get right to it. And I started with this, it was because I like to do stuff in very simple, even when I put together these PowerPoints, I intentionally try to use the simplest graphics that I can use. So it's very easy for people to understand, and the visuals of it. But when I talk to people, I try to use it in the simplest concepts. And I said, listen, guys, you've heard Mark Ross just say he's been saying for months and months and months and months and months that, in his core belief, this is going to be $100 token, and $100 token. Now, I will tell you guys as a side note, if you ever talk to David Track, he thinks that number is insanely low, right? But you've heard Mark Ross say $100 token. And for those of you guys that know, or maybe you don't know, right? I mean, when we launched this token back in September, it started off right around 0.001, so about 1/10 of a penny. Didn't stay there for long, right? But it started at about 1/10 of a penny. And our goal is to go from 1/10 of a penny to $100 token. And honestly, what's not on the screen is as fast as possible, right? I mean, I know I've had a lot of individual conversations with Mark. He's kind of laid out some strategies of how he thinks that we could actually get there this year. And not even late this year. In fact, if we hit the right momentum curve, we do some of the right things, we could get there this year. So that would be insane level growth, right? And I start off by telling people, like, okay, so let me just explain to you, because a lot of people, they don't even realize why a price of a token goes up or down. Like the very basics of it, they just think it's just magic, right? Man, I hear so many people sitting around saying, man, I hope it goes up. You know what I mean? Like not even understand, especially at this stage when we're an immature, and I call it immature because we're just a young chart, right? We're brand new, not a tremendous amount of holders. You have a lot of power right now, that you could affect the price of the token going up or down, right? So the only what drives a token up or down, I'm not going to get into a whole super long lesson on it. It's just price pressure, right? Buy pressure. A whole bunch of people are buying a token. A lot more people who are buying a token and holding it than people who are selling the token. Price goes up. If more people start selling the token, than people who are buying it and holding it, price goes down, right? So ultimately, if you want to go from 1/10 of a penny, right, up to $100 in a compressed period of time, you're looking to create a lot of buy pressure. That's it. That's how you do it. It's not magic. It's not wishing. It's not praying. It's not hoping. It's none of that stuff. It's just math. Right. And that's one of my favorite lines. It's not magic. It's just math. Right. You're just looking to create a lot of buy pressure. The more buy pressure, then the higher the token is going to go, because eventually you have enough buy pressure that it overwhelms the sell pressure. Here's a news alert for you guys. There's always going to be people selling your token. I know I see people they get offended or they get angry. They go to Telegram. What are these people? It's okay, right? This is a fair token, right? It's not something where we're controlling it, saying, well, we don't think we're going to let you sell today, right? I mean, you can buy it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want, but it all comes down to what your strategy is and what you're trying to get accomplished. I know there are people here like myself and like the professor who believe that this is an opportunity. I've heard the professor say over and over again, this is my Bitcoin. This is I missed out on getting that run with Bitcoin. This is my Bitcoin. And I know there's a lot of people who feel that way, which is another way of saying this is their opportunity to get wealthy. Everybody's not here to get wealthy, though. Some people are here to get $50, or $100 or $1,000. All of those numbers, by the way, pale in comparison to what we believe is available. But that's not my fight, right? It's not my fight to tell people. It's simply my fight to build the vision to the best of our ability, communicate as well as we can, so that enough people who get the vision really do have the opportunity to get some of that wealth, because they get into this mode of buying and holding, right? Buying and holding and spreading and driving in more buy pressure. That's what we're doing. Now, here's what I want you to think about, guys. We're going to have a max supply, and if you're brand new, this might be brand new to you, right? You haven't read the light paper or anything, but the maximum supply of Sosana tokens is going to be 88,888,888 tokens. Okay, David Track loves the number 8, very lucky number, but 88,888,000 and change tokens. That is the maximum supply. Now, what you need to understand is the way that it is set up on the distribution, so they come out in a cliff period. We will not have all of those tokens out in distribution for 5 years, right? So it's going to take a while. It's going to take 5 years before there's actually 88,888,888 Sosana tokens floating around in the world where somebody can own them. So before we get there, right, as we're growing, as they're rolling out slowly, Sosana tokens are gonna be a lot more rare. Now, even at 88 million, for those of you that are not from the crypto universe, 88 million sounds like a big number. It's a really small number in the crypto universe. Most of these tokens out there that you see, Bitcoin is the exception, not the rule, right? Bitcoin has a max supply of about 21 million. But most of these tokens you see, if you go look at their token supply, you're going to see billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions, trillions, and then you just see infinity signs for some of them, right? Where there is no max supply, where they will continue to create tokens for as long as they want to, need to, etc. Right? And you see that as well. The 88 million is a small number from a crypto standpoint. It creates rarity. Rarity can create value. Value can continue to drive price. But again, we're trying to go from 1/10 of a penny to $100 in a compressed period of time. And when we get there, if it takes 5 years, there'll be 88 million tokens out. But we don't believe it's going to take 5 years. We're looking at it taking, again, if it happens this year, like Mark Ross is predicting. Again, we're not allowed to make guarantees. I want to get that out there on the recording for our attorney, that we're not making a guarantee. We're just saying what we believe. But if that happens this year, well, then we're going to have way less than 100 million, than 88 million tokens out there. So let's say it happens in a time frame where we have 10 or 20 or 30 million tokens in circulation. If we have 10 million or 20 million or 30 million tokens in circulation, you multiply any of those numbers times 100, and you'll get $1 billion or $2 billion or $3 billion market cap. So that's where we would be at. $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion market cap, just depending on how long it takes us. If it happens this year, if it happens at the beginning of next year, whatever, but somewhere between a $1 and a $3 billion market cap. Now, what is the metric that you track if you really want to start figuring out historically what you're going to need to be able to get to these big giant market caps? I'm not going to wait for you guys to figure it out and answer the question. I'm just going to say it's token holders, right? It's token holders. And in essence, if you went right now and you looked at all, the tokens that were around $1 billion or $2 billion or $3 billion market cap, you would notice that all of their token holder populations, for the most part, they're in the hundreds of thousands, right? They're in the hundreds of thousands, some of them low 100, some of them 500, 600, but in the hundreds of thousands. So let's just, for the sake, pick a number that I think might be a little bit high, but pick it anyway, that we need 300,000 token holders to get ourselves to a $1, $2, or $3 billion market cap that could support a $100 Sosana token. Let's just say 300,000. I think the bigger number, we can overpromise, underdeliver, or underpromise, overdeliver if we need to. But 300,000 token holders, right? So that's what we're looking at: is what do we need to do to get 300,000 token holders into the hundreds of thousands of token holders to drive this towards a $100 token, right? And a billion and multi-billion-dollar market cap, right? So that's our thought process. Now, the first question when I talk to people about this is, how are you going to do that? how many token holders do you have right now? About 1,400, 1,500, somewhere around there. That's a long way, bro, from 300,000, right? So how are you going to get 300,000? So I'm going to answer that, guy. I want to answer that. But before I even answer that question, I'm going to take one step back and just say, I know there are some brand new people to the space of crypto, and you might not even understand why. Why do we want to get to a $100 token? And why do we want to get, therefore get 300 token holders? Why is that so important? What's that got to do with me, right? Why do I care? So guys, I want to just look at what's already happened, right? I want you guys to think about this for a second, just where we've been, right? We started at 0.001, right? 1/10 of a penny. To put that in perspective, just when for Sosana to have gotten to a penny, right? That was 10x growth, right? For Sosana to have gotten to when they got to 10 cents, that was 100x growth. So at 10x, at 10 cents, it's 100x growth. At 20 cents, it's 200x growth. At 30 cents, it's 300x growth. I want you guys to start thinking about what I'm saying, okay? 30 cents, 300x growth from the beginning. If for anybody who got it at the very beginning, I know most people did not, but if you did, some of you lucky people are probably on here. If you did, you know, and when Sosana was at 10 cents, you had 100 times your money. And I want to make sure that people understand the X, because for some reason, when I say 100X to people, I've had people say to me, like, I told a guy 300X, and he said, man, the token's grown by 300%. That's incredible. No, 300% would be 3X. You know, 300X is 30,000%, right? So it's grown by 30. And he's like, that's ridiculous. I said, exactly. That's why I told you X and not percent, because at least X sounds, it doesn't rattle your brain as much as when you hear it, but it's true. You know, just when Sosana was at 10 cents, it was at 100X. At 30 cents, it was at 300X, 40 cents, 400X, 50 cents, 500X. And by the time it gets to $1, that's 1,000 times growth. And it will only be at $1, and it'll be 1,000 times growth. Now, sit on that for a second, guys, because I want you to grasp this for a second. I want you to just do a mathematical example with me. If somebody got Sosana at the very beginning of 0.001, and the only thing they put in was $100, that's it. Not a lot of money. I know there's people on here from all over the world. I know $100 is more money in some parts of the world than in other parts of the world. But in most parts of the world, you will not consider $100 to make you rich. Okay, I think most people would agree with that, right? But even if it was just $100 that they got at 0.001, when it hit a penny, that $100 was worth $1,000. When it hit 10 cents, $10,000. That same $100 was now worth $10,000. When it hits $1, that same $100 is $100,000. $100,000 at $1. What are we saying up here? We want to go from 0.001 to $100. The reason why I point that out is because for all of you who are saying, well, man, I didn't get it at 0.001. I got it at 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, right? 60 cents, right? Whatever you got it at, whatever you got, if you got it at $1, if you got it at $1, when we get to $100, and as Mark Ross is projecting, sometime this year, that will be 100x from where you got it at. You understand that? 100x from where you got it at. That would be, I don't even know that math. I guess 1 times 100 here would be 100. That would be times 100 here would be 1,000. Would be 100,000x. When we get to $100, that's 100,000x from where we started. Right? 100,000 times your money from where it started, which is crazy. But if you knew right now that you could get this token at $1, which it's not at $1, right? But even if you waited until it was $1 before you said, okay, now I finally get it, I'm going to start buying some, and you had the opportunity to get 100x, 100 times your money, whatever you bought, $100, $500, $1,000, $10,000 worth of it, 100 times that sometime this year, would you say that was the best level of investment that you've ever been a part of? Of course you would, right? Of course you would. I was talking to a guy here with, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when I think we were about 21 cents or something like that. And I hadn't seen him in a while. I said, what have you been up to, man? What are you doing? And I told him, I said, man, I'm working with this project, Sosana, this token. He said, okay, well, you know, what's the story? That's what he said. He said, what's the story? I said, well, the story is token rolled out in September. You know, here we are now, man, about 4 months later, and already it's at about 200x. And he said it to me. He said, it's going up 200% in 4 months. That's insane. I said, that would be insane, but it's going up 200x, not 200%. And he just kind of stared at me. And I said, if you put $100, if you had put $100 in on day one and got it when it started, 200x would be 200 times 100. And he sits there and he calculates. And he says, that's $20,000. And I said, yep. He said, I could have put $100 in 4 months ago and had $20,000 today. Is that what you're telling me? I was like, yep. And you didn't tell me about this. I was like, well, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. But, you know, and he said, I can't believe I missed that. I said, well, you may have missed that, but it's not over. It's just starting to hit momentum, and you can continue to miss it. I said the reality is, they believe that by the end of January, it will be at the 1,000x mark. And who knows where it's going to go from there. Now, that's only saying that by the end of January, it would be at $1, right? That's all it's saying. But when I said it would be at the 1,000x mark, he said, so what's up? You know what I mean? How do I get some? So again, guys, this is why. So when I say, hey, we want to go from 0.0 to $100 and we need 300,000 token holders to get there, and you're saying, what's that got to do with me? This is what it has to do with you. Anybody that's watching this right now got their tokens for less than $1. Some of you got it for less than 50 cents. Some of you got it for less than 10 cents. At $100, right, it's just going to be a matter of math. How many tokens did you buy at what price and held on to them will determine how wealthy you are when it gets to $100. Because even if you got it at $1, 100x, 100 times the amount of money you put up, that's a lot. That's a lot, right? So that's why. So before we talk about how, I wanted to say why. So here we go. Let's get back to the how, right? So the how is simply this. It's all about, the community and building it, right? So there's three ways that we've decided, three levers, if you will, that we've decided that we're going to pull, right, to build it. And I'm not going to go into all the deep detail behind some of this stuff. I know if David Track was on here right now, he would tell you all the things that are going to happen within the affiliate program with all the different. But what I am going to say to you guys is there's just three levers, right? Lever number one is peer-to-peer enthusiasm, right? And I'm going to show you that, talk to you about that in a second. Lever number two is incentivized activity, or our members rewards program. And lever number three is just marketing, right? Marketing, whether it be PR, whether it be influencers, social media ads, lead gen campaigns, etc. Three levers that we've decided to pull that's going to help us be able to go out there and accomplish that. Now, peer-to-peer enthusiasm, how effective is it? Well, let's think about it, right? In version 1 of this, in the beta of Sosana, right? Peer-to-peer enthusiasm is the only thing that existed, right? There was no affiliate plan, no membership rewards. There was, there was no money being marketed for it or whatever. David Track and Mark Ross got together and kept getting each other more and more excited about it. They talked to Keith Lacey, and Keith Lacey got fired up, and Keith Lacey called a ton of people and told them about something that really didn't even exist yet, right? It was an idea. It was a concept. It's coming, right? It's coming. Before there ever was a token, he was out talking to people and getting them fired up because he had a lot of belief. He was enthusiastic about it. Enthusiasm is caught, not taught, right? It's caught, not taught. And it was so catchy because he was so enthusiastic that a whole bunch of other people got enthusiastic, and it became almost, like a virus that they were just passing from one person to another. Peer-to-peer enthusiasm. And that's how it got its start. Now, as it started to go, we started to come across more and more people who had the ability, who had exhibited the ability in the past, and were currently exhibiting the ability to build big giant teams, right? Just these guys who were like superstar affiliate marketers, network marketers, cooperative marketers, affiliate, all this kind of stuff, internet marketers. So it made sense to say, hey, let's add another lever, incentivized activity, right? Incentivized activity, a member rewards program set up to incentivize people to go out and talk to others about something that we actually feel like people would talk to about, even if there was no affiliate or no incentivized members reward. However, we were asking people who were currently making a lot of money and paying all their bills and supporting their families and supporting their lifestyles by building affiliate programs up elsewhere to take their eye off the ball of what else they were building to come focusing on Sosana. And we said, you know what? We can't ask them to do that, right? And say, just do it and all of your payoff is going to be in the future, right? We had to set up a way where they could actually get rewarded for their activity right now, for taking their eye off of what they were currently doing. And that was our affiliate plan, right? And we say, hey, you'll start off unranked, a 3-level affiliate program, 20% for all your personals, and 15 and 15, right? Of all of the people's, again, this isn't off of people's investments, right? That would be illegal. This is off of what that people were paying to sign up as affiliates. That's it, right? So if they sign up as a founder for $99, that's 20% of that, about $20, right, worth of Sosana tokens. Now, why did we say we'll do it in Sosana tokens? Buy pressure, buy pressure, buy pressure. If every single person who saw this and got excited about it and said, I want in, and was told, okay, the only way to get in is to go buy Sosana tokens and use them to sign up, that's buy pressure, buy pressure, buy pressure. Guys, remember, from 1/10 of a penny to $100, significant buy pressure. So that was done by design. So they would come in, everybody comes in when they sign up, they can get these membership rewards. These are optional. You're not forced to go talk to anybody. There's all sorts of other benefits that you're going to get as a member affiliate with us. But if you wanted to go tell other people about it, you could share a link with them and you could actually go out there and earn some additional rewards. And then for those of you that were proficient with it, you could earn additional rewards. You go out and refer 3 people, you get to a higher rank, you get better commissions. You refer 10 people and build a team of 100, you get to a higher rank, you get better commissions. You actually helped a few other people become that level of hodler, you get to a higher rank and you get better commissions. And once you're in that hodler and those well ranks, because you've established yourself now as a big leader, a significant contributor to us of helping us develop and build and explode the community faster and faster, we got other significant rewards where you're going to get bonus pools that you participate in, where you're getting a piece of every single affiliate sign up membership and renewal that happens across the entire world, not just on your team, but on everyone's teams and all over the place. Because again, if you're going to actually help us accomplish and achieve our goals faster, you deserve to be rewarded. That's cool. You don't want to do it, you don't have to. But for those people who are doing it, it's awesome. For those of you who don't want to do it and it's not your bag and it's like, man, that's not what I do, I don't feel comfortable doing that stuff. Guess what? The best part that we saw about this was with all these people out there, like a Keith Lacey, like a professor, like so many of these other big leaders doing this, even if you're not doing it, all the significant buy pressure that they're creating into the token that they're going to continue to create as they begin to explode. Guess what, guys? As that pushes up the price of the token, it doesn't just push up the price of their tokens, it pushes up the price of the token, which means the tokens that you're holding become more valuable because of their efforts. That's why we really thought this was cool and we really liked it. And here's the other thing, 300,000 holders, right? 300,000 holders. There are people who have joined us already who on their own, just their own teams in past companies, have built teams into the hundreds of thousands on their own. So we got a whole group of those people. So that was just another way in our mind, more holders, more holders, more holders, more buy pressure, more buy pressure, more buy pressure. We're going closer and closer to the the $100 level. And then finally, guys, marketing. The professor brings this up all the time, right? Because every time we get on here, we talk about that degen voter wallet. We talk about the fact that we take 3% as a tax, you guys know, out of every buy, sell, or transfer of the Sosana tokens, and it goes into these different wallets. But there's that 1%, right? 1/3 of that is going into this degen voter pool, and in that voter pool, every couple of weeks, people will have nominated tokens, and people can vote on tokens, and now they know an hour in advance who won the vote, and that there's going to be a big purchase of that winning token in an hour, and you've got that advanced intel that you can act upon. Right? We talk about that all the time. And the professor, I love it. He always brings up, he's like, hey, don't forget the marketing wallet, right? Don't forget the fact that, 1% is going into the degen voter pool, and that's what everybody's excited about, but 0.5% is going into the marketing wallet. And he knows, because he's a marketer, he understands if we're saying there's $100,000 in the degen voter pool, that means there's $50,000 in the marketing wallet. If we're saying there's $1 million in the degen voter pool, there's $500,000 in the marketing wallet. So the bigger that it gets, the bigger that it gets. And now all of a sudden, as it grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and you've got $100,000 every couple of weeks, $500,000 every couple of weeks, $1 million every couple of weeks, $5 million every couple of weeks of marketing dollars. What could you do with that to, again, get the word out about this token and get more and more people excited about it? and ultimately get closer and closer to that amount of holders that we need, right? Well, with that kind of money, we could go out and talk, and this is what we're going to do, by the way, and talk to some of the biggest crypto influencers out there and get them excited about it, right? A lot of this is paid activity with these influencers, etc. But get them to introduce Sosana's token to their communities, right? Some of these people have millions of followers already who look in and check in with them on a weekly or sometimes daily basis to get their advice about what tokens are hot and what token projects they should take a look at. So if we've got people like that willing to put Sosana in front of their millions of followers and we can afford to do it, imagine what that does to our token as some of those followers, a percentage of them say, man, this project is cool. I want to go get involved in it. And they go and become token holders, right? Big deal. How about this, guys? YouTube ads and other social media ads. How many of you have ever been watching a YouTube video and then all of a sudden it goes to a commercial, and the commercial that it goes to, it's almost like they were reading your mind. Like every single commercial I see on YouTube is about financial empowerment. They've got me dialed in, man. Their algorithm has worked. They have me figured out. People say, hey man, did you see that commercial about that movie? Or did you see that commercial? I say, nope. Every commercial I see, right, is always the same thing. You know, it's about investing in gold and silver, and it's about crypto related stuff, and it's about opportunities, you know, it's because they've got me dialed in. They know what I am interested in, right? And that's the thing. You can go and you can actually put in exactly who you're looking for. Imagine having enough social media ads out there running that are targeting people who are interested and already shown an interest in crypto-related projects, and we're putting Sosana in front of them, right? How many people do you think we can drive into Sosana, right? And how quickly could we do it? So if you guys understand, right, the only thing you have to figure out from there is what are the stories that you're sharing with those people, whether you're doing peer-to-peer, right? Whether you're going out and you're doing the incentivized activity, right? Or whether you're going out and you're doing social media marketing and influencer marketing, you still have to make sure that there are stories being shared through all of those mediums that gets people excited and gets their attention to say, I got to go take a look at this thing and see what's going on. And there's really only 3 types of stories that you can tell. There is a 4th story. We're going to get to that in a second, but there's the 3 types of stories that you tell in the beginning. Number 1, the utility story. It's about the degen voter wallet. It is one of the sexiest and most exciting stories I've ever heard, and I've ever had the privilege of retelling. Every single time I explain to people this degen voter system, their eyes get wide, their jaws drop, and they're like, oh my God, I've got to be a part of that, right? It is an incredible story. So that's one story that you could be telling. The second story is track record. A lot of you guys are just starting to realize, like you're just starting to hear it, maybe even, and it's starting to settle in your brain. Geez, man, just about 5 months ago now, we launched at 1/10 of a penny. 1/10 of a penny. So when you guys are like, hey, the token's at 30 cents or 40 cents. Oh my God, it's now at 22 cents. If it's at 20 cents, it's at 200x of where it was 5. Do you know how incredible that story is? Especially when you're like, it's going to go way beyond that. That's why myself and Mark, we get on here, you hear us all the time. We're like, we don't live on the chart from day to day. A lot of people who know me very well, that talk to me every day, that are involved in Sosana, they think it's absolutely hysterical that they have to tell me what the price to the token is. I don't look, I don't look. When it gets to $5, call me. That's really my attitude. That will be my first moment of absolute elation and celebration. I'll be happy when it gets to $1, right? Because it'll mean everybody's in profit mode, and that's cool. But when it gets to $5, that's when I'm going to be like, yo, that's cool. We are crushing it now. We are well on our way. But in my mind, at $5, I'm like, bro, we got to go 20 times that to get to that $100 mark, where I know that a lot of you, many of you, maybe even the majority of you at that point would potentially be wealthy, right? That is going to be exciting to me. of us all getting together at some global event and fighting over who's got the first round. That's what I'm excited about. That's where I'm living at, right? In my mind. So that's what I'm talking about. But when you talk about the track record of even what we've already accomplished, it is unbelievable. And we still haven't even really gotten started yet, right? So you can tell the utility story about the DGen voter wall. You can tell the track record, like I shared with that gentleman. Hey, man, yeah, listen, launched 4 months ago. We're already over 200x, and that was enough. He was like, I got to get in, right? I got to get in. Or you can tell the future story. Hey, right now the token today is at whatever it's at, 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents. But, a lot of people believe that this token is going to be over $100 in the next year or so, maybe even a shorter period of time than that, based off of the growth metrics they're putting out. What? It's at what and it's going where, right? That's enough to make people want to pay attention. How is it going to do that? What's going on? But guys, all we're doing is creating a massive Sosana awareness campaign. I want you guys to check the numbers here. Right now, we have about 14 to 1,500 holders right now, 14 to 1,500 holders. There are currently 7 billion people on the planet. Of those 7 billion people on the planet, somewhere between 600 and 700 million are already involved in crypto. Now, that number threatens to get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Bigger and bigger and bigger. We just saw something today that Walmart, I think they announced it yesterday, Walmart is going to start accepting crypto for all purchases in their stores. So it basically said Walmart is going to allow their 1 billion customers that come through their doors per month to now start using Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and there was another token, right, to make purchases in their stores through this app that Walmart is going to provide in their stores, right, where people can just come up and they can swipe their, show the QR code of their wallet, and they can pay right into that buying stuff with crypto. 1 billion people a month going into Walmart, many of whom, right, are going to see other people doing this. And for the first time in their lives, are going to say, I had no idea that you could actually spend crypto in the real world. That is going to be their first entree into the crypto space, right? 7 billion people, 600 to 700 million already involved in crypto. And we just want to make enough noise to get people's attention so that we can ultimately get just 300,000 people to say yes. Guys, I'll tell you something, man. Somebody said on the call we did yesterday, and I don't remember who it was, but Mark had kind of read that somebody had put into the Telegram group. They said, who's going to say no to this, right? Who's going to say no to this? I've heard a lot of people, say that. I'm going to tell you guys something. And this is honestly from the bottom of my heart, man. I don't obsess about who's going to say no. You know what I obsess about? I obsess about people who are never going to be given the option to say yes or no, because you're not going to tell them about it, right? That's what keeps me up at night. It's not yes, people are going to say no. If we want 300, there's people say no because that's the only word that they know. But if we want 300,000 wallet holders, right? It's how many people do we have to talk to, in a compressed period of time to get 300,000 yeses? 1 million people, right? I mean, this is pretty hot, right? 1 million people would mean that 70% said no, and we still are at $100 token. 2 million people, right? That's okay, right? That's okay, because we can do that collectively. Between the 3 levers that I just showed you, we can get that done. So the only question that you guys need to be entertaining, the only question you need to ask yourselves right now, right, is number one, do you believe that with 7 billion people, 700 million of them roughly already involved in crypto, with all those 3 levers that we just talked about, with the stories that we can share and how prolific we can be with sharing them, do you believe that it is realistic that we could get a few 100,000 yeses? That's it. Because if we do that, this is a foregone conclusion. Again, David Track will tell you this is a good start, right? But again, if that was the ultimate number that we were able to get to, you already saw what it would mean for you, regardless of if you got your token at $1. It would still be 100x of your money, even if you got your token at $1. And I know none of you did, right? So that would be amazing. So if you believe that, then here's the only thing you need to ask. When we get here, how many tokens will you have accumulated and held? And what price did you get them at? That's it. Today's price? You know, yesterday's price. Price from 2 weeks ago, price from 3 months ago, you know, price from the beginning. What price did you get them at? Because every single person that's on here right now are watching this webinar over the next few weeks, whatever price you got them at, this is going to make you rich. That's what we're a part of. That's what we're doing. That's our goal. And if you understand that, that should change your behavior about what you're doing right now on a day-to-day basis to be able to go out there and impact the price of the token and to be able to go out there and accumulate. So with that said, man, Professor, I need you to talk for a minute because my throat is dry.
I got you, buddy.
Hey,
I get you. You know, first off, I got to tell you this, man. I love. They call me professor because I love to teach. I want people to understand it as they undertake it. And I've had companies pay me a lot of money to train and things of that nature.
Sir,
man, I love your training, man. I declare, dude.
Thank you, brother.
Not only do you have a beautiful head, you got a little bit more fuzz than you should.
Yeah. I'm trying to, you know. I got to keep something, you know.
Yeah. Phenomenal training. And I certainly hope that this is made available. Fantastic. Here's what I would say. You know, yesterday, because I know people are always looking, a lot of people, unfortunately, are always looking at the charts, right?
Right.
And so we were over 50 cents, you know, yesterday. And today we had, you know, comes back a little bit. That's what we expect. You know why I got excited about it coming back today? Is because yesterday, a lot of my personal folks had not yet upgraded. We were still walking them through the process of upgrading. All right. See, I didn't want them to upgrade when it's $50.
Right. I hear you.
I was like, yes, it came back. Now I got more people that upgraded. So I got more Sosana tokens. Now, I want to slow that down, make sure that we get this, folks. Okay.
Yes,
the reason it's important for us to let's get this messaging out now is because the Sosana token is still so low.
That's right.
So when someone buys, you know, I know we won't be $99 forever, but when someone buys it for $99 and the Sosana token is 40 cents, you're getting a lot more tokens than when they buy it for $99 and the token is at $4.
That's right.
And so what I was looking at, Brian, look at this stash of Sosana tokens starting to build up. And since I'm not looking to sell, all right, I'm nowhere close to 100. Nowhere close to 100. And again, I'm looking at this as my Bitcoin because I was there when Bitcoin was $515, August of 2014. I was there when it then over 18 months went down from 500 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 166.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of buying more, you know, I didn't know what Bitcoin was going to be. And then I get a message, you know, 4 years afterwards from a guy saying, hey, man, thanks. Thanks for what, dude? Because of you, Professor, I'm a multimillionaire. Mm-hmm. Well, how'd you do that? Because you introduced me to that project that was playing in Bitcoin. I introduced him, man.
Right.
This was not some big, huge marketing guy, but he was consistent, and I wasn't.
Right.
And I also wasn't a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
He was a multimillionaire, and I wasn't. And that's when Bitcoin was at 18 grand.
Wow.
So he's likely a multi.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I missed it. Well, I'm not going to miss Sosana, the Sosana token. And when I go through, so one of the things that I've done, Brian, is I will go to CoinMarketCap. All right. So when I was having a meeting with some of my folks, I was saying, I remember Bitcoin. I remember Ethereum. One of my guys bought Ethereum when it was $1.
Mhm.
And I remember Binance, BNB. I remember when that was $8.
Mhm.
All right. And now it's, into the several hundreds, went over 1,000 a few weeks ago. And so I went through and I looked at all of these crypto assets. I remember when they were in the cents or dollar, and now they're in the hundreds and the thousands.
That's right.
And I don't have a portfolio of all of those. And there were some that I had.
Yep.
And then I sold.
Yep.
So when we've got Sosana, let's say that goes maybe in time to 100. We can't promise. All right. But then you got all these other projects that we get a chance
That's right.
to build a portfolio. What happens if over time, every 2 weeks, what happens a year from now if you got 50 projects sitting in your portfolio alongside Sosana?
That's right.
Any one of those could do 5 times, 10 times, 100 times,
100
or
times.
more.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, that crowdsourced intelligence model, right? To identify superior projects every 2 weeks for the rest of your life, right? And that's amazing. And I'll tell you, when you talk about Bitcoin, it's funny because we know, and I know you know this number, but a lot of people don't. But Bitcoin had hit its all-time high, right? Several months ago, $126,000 and change, right? For one Bitcoin. For those of you that are new to the crypto space, for one Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually started at about 1/3 of a penny. So it is the greatest returning asset in the history of mankind. The greatest returning asset in the history of mankind. So I want to put that in perspective for you when we talk about crypto and people say what's possible. Okay. The greatest returning asset in the history of mankind is a cryptocurrency token, cryptocurrency coin. Actually, it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is down to about $90,000 today, right? So it's down roughly 28%. In fact, it's down today from what it was yesterday. Yesterday, Bitcoin was about 92 or 93, right? And it's down to about 90 or 91 today. So it went down a little bit. Even though it went down in the last 24 hours, right? 200,000 different wallets purchased roughly, multiple billions of dollars of Bitcoin collectively, right? Collectively, they purchased multiple billions of dollars. Why would you purchase multiple billions of dollars of something that is down 28% in the last few months and down even several percentage points just in the last 24 hours? Because you know where it's going to be. And that's it, right? Where it's going to be. Now, at the same time, there were people who sold Bitcoin yesterday, right? And it doesn't matter. This is the thing. I know people, they're like, man, people are selling, man. It's going, here's the funny thing. You know why the majority of people sell? It's because they see other people selling, right? The same reason why the majority of people buy, right? It's because they see other people buying. And it's because they don't really know what's going on, right? They don't have a North Star about where they believe something is or what they're, which is why I wanted to share what we share with people tonight, right? Because I want you to understand what it is. I want you to understand what it is we are doing. Because once you understand what we are doing, you are less likely to be impacted by what somebody sells. Oh my God, I better sell. They must know something I don't know, right? Or now they're buying, I better buy. That doesn't impact you. It's like I said yesterday. People are like, man, I hope the token goes down a little bit so we can buy the dip. This is all the dip. All of this is the dip. These are all places that, a few months from now, people won't believe that you got tokens for whatever you got them for right now. 50 cents, 40 cents, 30 cents, 80 cents. They won't believe it because they'll say, man, that means at today's price, you're at 50x. You know what I mean? You're at 60x. You're at 1,000x, right? They won't believe that. But it'll be real for those of you that take advantage of where we are right now. So I wanted to do that. And again, I did it off camera, but I'll say it now on camera for those of you that aren't on here live and you're watching this. Relax. We are not going to allow anyone to miss, becoming a founder because a challenge that they're having, getting signed up, technology standpoint, find their sponsor, etc. We got you guys. We're not those types of people. You should know that about us. And if you don't, I'm telling you now, give you my word, Dave Track's word, Mark's word, etc. We're going to make sure that we get all this fixed, and we're going to make sure that everybody's trying to be a founder. We're going to get you guys taken care of. Don't worry about the deadline and all that kind of stuff. We got you. Don't worry about it. Okay. So that's all I wanted to share with everyone, man. Professor, as always, I appreciate you being here, man. Again, guys, we've got your questions. We've submitted them to developers. We got a big call with them tomorrow morning, and we'll come back to you tomorrow with a resolution on a lot of different issues and topics, et cetera, and we'll get this running and spinning like a top. We'll get more and more people pressed through the KYC and approved, so that we now have enough people that we can have true nominations of enough tokens that it makes sense to even have a vote, instead of having 2 tokens and you know what I mean, and 12 people voting on it, because people haven't been able to figure out how to get themselves through a KYC process and all that kind of stuff. So, hey, man, we're on it. And as always, we appreciate every single one of you, but please pass the message on to people. We got you. All right. With that said, appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully you found this helpful. I'll get this over to Mark ASAP, and we'll get this recording up, and we'll keep rocking and rolling. And I'll be back here with Mr. Mark Ross tomorrow, and we will see you guys tomorrow night. Have a great one, everyone. Have a good one. Thanks, Professor.
Welcome, my friend. Good night, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Recording stopped.